Hello, Cancer. This is your February mid-month. So, Cancer, the first card that I pulled up for you today is in fact the Ten of Swords. Now, a lot of you don't get worried because this is going to play out differently for each and every one of you. For most of you, the Ten of Swords is going to indicate or is indicating that some of you may have struggled with a situation, that some of you feel as if you're almost ready to give up, that some of you in mid-February got defeated one way or the other. Some of you felt that something was coming or someone was approaching you or somebody was reaching out to you or wanting to communicate to you, and they maybe did it for a little while and then they may have backed off. In your heart of all hearts, you thought that this person was going to continue to come forward. Had they have reached this broomstick to try to protect themselves and grab that to hold on, had they have reached it to try to protect themselves from this violent attack, had they have reached that stick, then this person would have definitely continued to communicate and to stay exactly where they were. Now, for a lot of you, this can also be something that was going on in your life that may have been toxic, and you may have hit some sort of rock bottom. For some of you, you could have had your back up against a wall or felt like you hit a brick wall. For some of you, something was stopped abruptly or something was taken away from you very quickly. Whatever happened in your most recent past, some of you may have felt like even a bad illness, whatever it is you went through, you may have felt like, again, this was a dead-end situation. This was not going to be able to be revived or repaired or strengthened. A lot of you panicked about a situation that somebody kept stabbing you in the back. Every time you tried to help them, you got stabbed in the back. Every time you did something for somebody else, you got stabbed in the back. For some of you, this is about having to learn the same lesson over and 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 over. You kept repeating the same thing. You kept having the same behaviors. Or this is your partner who kept doing something to you over and over and over and over and over and over, to the point where you became disabled, to the point where you became unresponsive, to the point that you became exhausted. For some of you, you were taking the last bit of hope, the last bit of faith, the last bit of energy that you had, still yet trying to reach, meaning to be able to fix it one more time. For some of you, this card can definitely indicate that somebody in your life right now is playing the victim. Somebody is the one who is overly dramatic. Now, who is this, you or them? But this is somebody who's a big attention seeker. Somebody who wants you to feel sorry for them. This is somebody who never wants to help themselves. They always want everyone else to do it for them. Whereas you're dealing with somebody who wants you to become an enabler. They want you to be an enabler. Somebody is very much exaggerating here. Somebody is full of shit. Somebody's trying to tell you these stories or give you these excuses why they didn't show up or why they didn't do something or why they're still involved in this relationship or why they're still married. Or, oh, they treat me terrible, and that's why I'm with you. You treat me so wonderful, but yet I'm still with them. That makes sense to you? Don't make no sense to me. For some of you, this person who's over dramatizing the situation, who's making a mountain out of a molehill, yeah, is absolutely out of their mind. This person has the Ten of Swords. This person may have been through, for some of you, this person may be you, who have been through a deep loss, a very, very heartbreaking or painful betrayal. This also could be you, mid-February, that may have received some very unfortunate or sad news. This also could be somebody who had a broken contract. This could also be somebody who did not follow through on something that they promised you. This also can be telling you that something is going to come to an abrupt end. For some of you, a job at work may be cut. A title may be cut. A position may be cut. For some of you, you may have to go back to an old position. For some of you, this situation may have came out of the blue. This situation may have really rocked your world. It may have really woke you to hell up. It may have really made you pay attention. For some of you, this definitely can represent somebody was stabbing your ass in the back. Somebody was talking to your face nice and then turning around and stabbing you in the back. Talking shit. This definitely can be somebody that was bad-mouthing you. Not talking good about you at all. Not giving you credit. This also could be somebody at your job who was taking the information that you had or that you learned or the work that you did and owning it as their own, getting the credit that you deserved for it. So be careful if you're at work and you're coming up with ideas or plans and you're showing one person, they're taking those plans or stealing them. And instead of representing them to the boss as your plans, they tell them it's theirs. They may give you a small piece of credit and say they had you tweak it a little bit or figure something out. Be careful of this sneaky bastard. For some of you, somebody might be quite bitter towards you. This could be because you were with somebody that they wanted to be with, but the partner that you had didn't want them anymore. So this person may be very bitter, or, I'm sorry to say, you may be very bitter because your person may have left you to go back to another person. For some of you, this is somebody who's put the final nail in the coffin, so to speak. In other words, somebody did the one last thing that they're ever going to do to you wrong again, meaning that you're not going to tolerate any more of it. For some of you, this could be a goodbye. This could be an ending. For some of you, unfortunately, this could be a loved one who's very sick, who's getting ready to let go. For some of you, you may be deciding to sever ties with somebody. You may just decide that you don't want this anymore. You might decide that, you're about ready to collapse here. You are filled with exhaustion. You're tired of the bullshit. You're tired of their drama. For some of you, you're sick and tired of somebody doing something behind your back. For some of you, this could be a coworker who's talking behind your back, acting like they're your friend at work, but they talk about you, especially when you're not there or you call out. But people fear that coworker. People fear who she is or he is because they know they start trouble. And other people who are listening to this person bitch or complain or lie about you, they're afraid that they're going to do the same thing to them. For some of you, this is a minor arcana card. A card that represents about failure or something ruined. So it doesn't mean that you're a failure. Absolutely not. What it's stating is that something failed, a situation failed, maybe a job failed, maybe a position failed, maybe a title failed, maybe a check failed, maybe a bounce check, maybe something's not going good with your finances. But at the same time, this Ten of Swords, where love is concerned, the upright Ten of Swords, unfortunately, it can mean a little bit of fear. It can mean hesitation. It can mean that trouble was brewing for quite some time. Something was definitely not on track the way it should have been. You may have thought it was, but it may not have been. For some of you, this card is quite striking, really. It is ominous. It is this person laying flat on the ground with their face in the dirt. It feels like this person can barely move or doesn't even know how to move. There's a very much of a stillness in this card. Somebody staying very still. Pausing for a moment, if you may. The water, even in the background, there's no movement. It's kind of like a finality or a final. For some of you, you might be looking to the east, to the horizon, where the sun is. There is still a bit of hope because of that sun shining. This may feel like it's one of the lowest points in your life, but the good news is, with this Ten of Swords, it can't get any worse than this. You can only go up from here. Things now can only get better. It is not going to destroy you. It is not going to kill you. Whether you're sick, whether you're in bed, it is not the final end. Even though it feels like a finality, it is not. Because the sun is rising in the east. In a moment, in this card, you're going to turn around and look up at that sun. The minute you do is where new beginnings start. So, by February's ending, going into March, you have a lot of good things and a lot of blessings getting ready to come. But first, we're just going to clean up this mess here.